La base de datos de virus ha sido actualizada.
Bienvenidas. Comenzamos.
Radio Metroplex.
Presentando.
Radio Metroplex.
La mejor programación. En vivo. Desde Arlington, Texas. La capital del deporte. Los espectáculos y el entretenimiento.
Radio Metroplex.
La mejor plataforma en su tipo. El mejor contenido
Radio Metroplex.
y diversión para todo.
Accept it and then it'll run.
So that's what's happening right now. The worst music for you. Hola everyone, how's everyone doing? This is your girl Mirna, the CEO Diva, and we're on the Down and Rail show today. I know it's rainy, I know it's gloopy outside, pero that only means that fall is around the corner, and that's like the best weather, the best fashion comes out. And today my guest is Michael Daly. Woo! So thank you so much for coming out.
Absolutely. Appreciate
We're
you
gonna
having
have a really good conversation.
Yeah, we are.
He's one of the funnest conversations I ever have. Like anytime we sit down, it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So we'll see how this one goes. I want y'all to understand, guys. If anyone you have to connect, know, and learn from is gonna be Michael Daly. I mean, he does so much and he continues to strive for more. And not only that, but he is one of our community leaders. So you don't get there just by not doing anything. You've done amazing things. And also, the cherry on top is that he is one of our speakers for the 24 Karat Gold Conference, an elite ceremony that's happening on October 18. So if you want to come and get to know him and take pictures with him, that is the place. All right, so what do you want to talk about first?
Man, you know what?
Where do we start?
Yeah, let's just get into it. I mean,
Alright.
wherever you want to go, let's go.
All right, so I don't think we've touched a lot about your childhood.
Sure.
So let's start there, and then we're going to go through your whole life.
Yeah,
How about
okay.
that?
All right, no, that sounds great. So I grew up in Northeast Ohio.
What?
So yeah. So about 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. So about an hour south of Cleveland. So
Yeah.
you're either a Steeler fan or a Cleveland Browns fan. We talk about. We always have people, want to talk about the Cowboys, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just not that guy. I'm a Steelers fan.
Yeah, like how?
I know, right?
Okay, now
So
we
that
know
makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, now it makes sense.
Okay,
So-
I won't hold that against you.
I know, it's on my phone. So, I grew up in a small town called Salem, Ohio, 13,000 people. And interesting, my dad, he went out and found my mom out in California. Now, she's from Texas, but he went out and found her in California, and she's a Latina, right? So she's Mexican.
He is Latino, guys.
Yeah, that's right. So, so he brings her back to Ohio, and in our hometown, we were the only other than white family in our entire town. There were no blacks, no Asians, no other Hispanics. We were it. Oh yeah. So
That is crazy.
it is crazy. So it's hard to imagine, hard to wrap your head around
Yeah.
when you think about diversity in today's society, but even racial prejudice. It's always pretty slanted on what is racial prejudice.
I
but-
was just talking about that with Angel. It's crazy. There was a time that you couldn't speak Spanish. Like,
Yeah.
it was frowned upon. It was almost illegal. Like,
Absolutely.
oh my God, you can't do that. This is not, go back to your state or whatever it might be, right? So I can only imagine your mom speaking to you in Spanish or doing everything, that you can't take that to school.
So what you just said is exactly why I didn't perfect my Spanish back in the day, because my dad asked my mom not to teach us.
No.
And it was because he was trying to protect us.
Yeah, and it made sense back
and
then.
it did make sense. I mean, again, it was, we caught the brunt of racial prejudice in our hometown. So every day, I was running trying to keep from getting beat up. But at a point, I'd gotten pretty good at fighting.
Yeah.
So, by the time I got to middle school, high school, like, nobody wanted to fight me anymore.
Yeah, so you got your respect already. You're a little bad boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was your childhood. So how were your teens?
I mean, I was, I hate to say this, but I was a good kid. So I was because I had a mission.
You have like that bad boy vibe.
That came later on in life.
Oh, okay.
But I knew what I wanted to do. If you'd have asked me what I wanted to do from the time I was this tall, I'd have told you I was going to be a Green Beret. So I was on a path to get there. And so everything that I was doing was intentional. And, back in this time, we didn't have a lot of money. So from the time I was 8 years old, I was delivering newspapers, shoveling snow, raking leaves, mowing lawns. Like I was.
So you were a hustler.
I was contributing to the family.
Yeah.
I did go out and hustle. Go collect bottles and whatnot. So I had to. I had to go out and if I needed something, if I wanted something, parents didn't have a ton of money, so I went out and I earned it.
You gotta do it.
Yeah. So, but I was on a mission. So in school, I was on track. Again, I fought all the time, but that wasn't all of it. Wasn't my
what was one
desire.
of the fights that you remember, like?
So I was in 7th grade, 7th or 8th grade. That's probably 8th grade. I was in 8th grade, and there was a senior, big football player, right? And my home where I lived was close to the high school, and so I was standing out in an alley, just hanging out with a couple of my buddies, and this group of seniors come walking by, a bunch of dudes and some girls, and of course I'm the guy to pick on, right? So we're the family to pick on.
Yeah.
So this guy, he's got to be 3 times my size.
That was my next question. How big were you?
I was tiny. So I probably weighed $105 if I were lucky.
Average Mexicano.
Yeah, just thin and small, right? So, long story short, this guy starts wailing on me for no reason.
Yeah,
just because I'm there, right? And so I'm on the ground, and I get back up, right? And he looks at me, hits me again, puts me back down on the ground. I got back up, right?
Oh man, you're pissing him off.
Oh yes, I did. And so about the 3rd time, his girlfriend was just like, "Leave him alone.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt him because he's not stopping."
Yeah.
And the look on his face when she said that to him, like he was small in that moment. So. Yeah. So sometimes, hey, you're gonna hit the ground, but you gotta get back up.
I know, that's where I was going with.
Yeah.
That's the way to view life.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna get easier.
It's not gonna be easy.
And maybe
Life
that
ain't
was
easy.
the moment that you were trained for everything in the future. Like those fights are the ones that really teach you a lesson.
Yeah, so we talk about our lens, right? What is the lens that we view everything through? What is and your lens obviously is made up of all your experiences.
Right.
And that's why, it's hard to think like somebody else. You really can't think like somebody else or act like somebody else because you don't have their lens. They don't have yours. So absolutely, through all the things that I persevered through as an adolescent, in my teenage years, in my early 20s, it was all building me to this day. Absolutely.
To who he is now. And guys, I promise you that he is someone you definitely want to get surrounded with, because he will inspire you to not only reach what you think you can reach, but things that you couldn't even think that you accomplished. I promise you that. So we have Diamantina. She's like, hello, the Down and Real Show and guests. So hey, beautiful. Remember, guys, that we are on the Down and Real Show with the CEO Diva en vivo desde los nuevos estudios de Radio Metroplex in Arlington, Texas, la capital del deporte, el espectáculo y el entretenimiento. And today we are with our guest, Michael Daly, and he's telling us his life story right now. So let's get to the good part. Now you are graduated, because obviously you graduated.
I did. So back to, again, I guess my little, I ended up getting my first spouse pregnant as a junior in high school.
Did you?
Now, I was on my way to West Point. I was ready. That's where I was heading. But I ended up getting her pregnant, and fortunately, like I said, I knew I was on this path, and so my grades were good. I was able to graduate early. I just had to take a senior class.
Yeah.
So I was in the Army at 17. My parents had to sign for me to leave so that I could join. And I went through basic training. I came back. My birthday's in right around Christmas. Okay. So I got back just in time to turn 18. And then I got married on the 24th of December, and I shipped off to Germany for 3.5 years.
Wow.
Yep, in the mid '80s for 3.5 years. Yep. So it was crazy about that.
Early.
Oh yeah, I did.
Like you're gonna te vas a hacer hombrecito right away.
Yeah,
Like I mean, 18.
Yeah.
That is crazy because my daughter is about to be 18 next year, and
Think about it.
I know she's like a little girl.
Yeah. So literally, I went from this high school kid in a small town to being in the Army, then married, and in Germany. And at that time, it was still the Cold War. Now I know I don't look that, hopefully I don't look that old, but it was in the mid '80s, and so we were still fighting the Cold War with Russia.
Yeah.
It was still East Germany, West Germany.
So you're deep. I mean,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is real stuff, guys. And so thank you so much for your service.
Oh,
he is a veteran, guys. And that is another whole thing in itself, guys, because the mental part of it. You said it's going down. I mean, it's the real thing out there. You're still fighting. And it's not like right now. Right now, I think things are calm.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. I don't want to say.
Yeah, right, for sure.
We don't know what it is out there, but so you're over there, and like, what is it when you come back? I mean, how do you come back to society?
So I give you an example, and it's funny. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and I was telling them, I think one of the challenges that we have with this younger generation, it's not their fault. It's just the time that they were born into, right?
Right.
But there aren't things in our current society, in our environment, that tests them.
Oh yeah. No.
Right? They're not tested. Like when I was growing up, we got tested every single day. I mean, growing up in Northeast Ohio, just walking to school in 3 foot of snow, you got tested.
Right.
So these kids these days, they don't have the benefit of getting tested. So I'm in Germany, and we're guarding the 1K zone. So that was the 1 kilometer zone between Germany and Czechoslovakia. And I'm in a guard tower, and on the other side there's Russians, and
That's close.
yeah, right. So literally on the other side they had their guard tower, we had our guard tower, and there was 1K in between, right? And so as I'm standing in my guard tower observing, because that was the purpose of it,
Right.
to be like the early warning signal in case they attack.
So the first one that's going down is basically.
Well, absolutely.
Oh my God, okay.
This huge Hind D Russian helicopter lifts off the ground, and it's just pointing its guns at me in this tower. Like if it wanted to take me out, it would have. Yeah, it would have. So you just think about little things, how you get tested.
Did you get appreciative of life, like a sense of appreciation of life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So again, growing up in Northeast Ohio, not having a lot of money, tested me, right? I was in the woods constantly. Like I lived in the woods.
So you can survive if you were
Oh
starving.
yeah. So this is crazy.
We're calling Michael for that.
Yeah. Fun fact. We would build igloos in the backyard and sleep in igloos just because as kids.
Right.
Yeah.
That was your fun.
That was fun. Right?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
okay.
so you think about just being tested. So having to, I used to think, embrace the suck. So things are going to suck. And
I love that.
Do you have the ability to just embrace it? Because you can't change it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to cry about it? No, you're just going to persevere through it.
Mm-hmm.
So in that moment, it was just like, hey, this is where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
One of two things is going to happen. Either, they're going to fire a round into this guard tower and I'm done, or they're not.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to.
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either you. Okay, I got that.
Mm-hmm.
That actually teaches me a lot right now. I'm like, it's because it's reality. Like,
Yeah.
It's all about perspective in life. I was talking about how things happen for you, not against you.
Sure.
And so that's one of those moments where it's like, now I know what it is to face death in the face.
Yeah.
And it can either be my last day or we're going to move on and talk about it later on.
That's right. It'll be a story on a podcast
Right.
that doesn't exist yet. Right? So yeah, it's those things of, we go through our life, and I'm a big risk manager in my Homeland Security days and of course my military days. But so you do things to prevent something bad happening, doing your best to prevent something bad from happening. But the reality is you can't mitigate all of the risk that is out there. It's just not going to happen. So the question becomes, what do you do next? Like, what are your actions that you're going to take in that moment? Mm-hmm. And then what are you going to do tomorrow?
Oof, deep. So guys, stop trying to control everything because you just can't.
You can't. Some of it's just God's will.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm going to help God along by doing my part.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to do my part and make it easy for him.
Love it. So, right there, when you came back, you were married.
Mm-hmm.
And how was adjusting to that? Now you know all of this, but your wife probably, or
yeah. So she came over there for a period of time. She was in and out of Germany. So I didn't. My first 8 months that my son, I was there when he was born. I didn't see him again for 8 months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they couldn't back in the day, you couldn't travel with an infant.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right. So he couldn't come over there until he had his shots and all of those things.
Mm.
So I didn't see him for the first 8 months of his life, aside from him being born. So that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
And we ended up having another child. So I have two of my older children from that marriage. Came back, and then right as I came back, so the wall came down. I was in Berlin with my unit. We had just gone through Checkpoint Charlie. Checkpoint Charlie is that checkpoint where you could go from West Germany to East Germany.
Okay.
When the Berlin Wall was still there, right?
But now it's gone.
We were training in Doughboy City right before the wall came down. We were one of the last units to go through Checkpoint Charlie.
Oh my God, that is cool.
Isn't that crazy?
He's part of history, guys.
Yeah, no, it's so bizarre. So,
oh my God.
And I always
Read
tell
about
people is that, like, going into East Germany, it was like the reverse of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
You know how it starts out in black and white and then it goes to color?
Yeah.
Right? It's the reverse. It's literally you're in color and you're going into a black and white world. It was so surreal. Yep.
I can only imagine that. That is, I didn't go out. I was not, that was just not an option for me, but I can only imagine what it is to be out there. And it's like, you only have what your brothers and sisters are right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not your family, not your mom. You can't cry about it. Like, you gotta face it. Like, you gotta numb your emotions.
Sure.
And then you're being part of history. And you got your son. You know you got kids. You know you got your wife. And then it's, oh my God, that is so much too.
Well, you think in that time, we were still protecting Germany from a potential Russian invasion.
Yeah.
So our responsibility was to protect the Fulda Gap, and that. Yeah.
Do you travel out there now?
Yeah, I do. So my I didn't get to see her while she was there, but my daughter just came back from a 5-year tour in Germany.
5-year tour.
5-year tour in Germany. She was stationed with the military.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a
Cool.
major with the Army. So she just got back, And we talked about some of the areas and the things that were there, and of course some of that doesn't even exist anymore as far as like the army, what the army had.
Did she make fun of you?
Oh yeah, of
like
course.
You're old.
Yeah, okay, exactly. I get that all the time.
Wow, that is so cool. But your conversations must go in deep.
Yeah, so this was a time, you think, when I was there, it was just 40 years removed from World War II.
Yeah.
So it's not that long. It's one generation, practically, from, the end of World War II.
That is
so
crazy.
The sentiment, there were still elderly people who loved us and thanked us and appreciated us.
Aww.
There were younger generation that couldn't stand us, like we were occupiers because we had been there since the end of World War II.
So they just don't know what all happened.
Yeah, so they never knew a life without the U.S. military in Germany occupying dang near every city, every single one of their cities.
So what do you think, like, I mean, now that they're adults, do you think they still hate y'all?
No,
now they see the whole big picture.
I think so, but I don't know so. I'm sure.
You're like, I'm not trying to go out there and check it
I'm
out.
not trying to test it, but so I think that you have that generation that appreciated,
that is
why
beautiful.
we're there.
Yeah, and to know that y'all were actually out there doing a difference for these people. I mean, I can't even relate to what that all means. So now you're out, and you're here. Where was your first business idea? Where was your first, or did you like go into 9 to 5?
Yeah, so there was some, like I went from that, of course. I was in Desert Storm.
Okay.
Yep. So as soon as I got back from Germany, I went straight to Desert Storm. Like I had like a month back in Texas, so I got my first station was down at Fort Hood at the time.
Oh, did your parents ever come back to Texas because of your mom?
They did.
Oh, okay. We skipped all of that.
Yeah. So we're not there yet.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, cool. We haven't skipped anything.
So we haven't skipped anything. So came back, and this is early 90s, of course. Yeah. And
I was about to be born, guys.
I know, so right. You haven't even been born yet, right? Yeah, people are still trying. So I come back, I get immediately sent to Desert Storm. My wife at the time was there with my 2 kids, and then Desert Storm's, of course, it was quick. Like we were in and out. It was relatively quick, but that was also a different time. I try to explain to people what it was like to be in the military in that moment. We talk about, this is crazy. So we talk about the COVID-19 shot, the vaccine, right? When I was in Desert Storm, out in the middle of nowhere, this military vehicle comes barreling up. We almost lit them up because we didn't know, like,
who you are,
right?
yeah.
You're coming at us full steam ahead. And so, anyways, they get there and they hop out, and they're like, "All right, boys, bend over." And they just had some random shots that they were giving us. They told us it was for like anthrax or whatever. We didn't know. And there wasn't we didn't have an option. No way. I'm not going to take that. No. You took your shot. Oh yeah, no, it's crazy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we just talk about the difference. We talk about the difference in mentality, difference in the time.
So you just got the shot that you didn't know what was in it. But
I didn't even know what that shot.
It could have been poison. For
yeah, who knows, right? So
and y'all making a big fuss about it.
Like we're getting random shots, like nobody even knows what they are. So
people are laughing.
Yeah. So we come back. And it's such a bizarre part of the story. At the tail end, I mean, again, there wasn't like we had cell phones. It wasn't. We were communicating via letters with our family. I know. I don't even know if anybody knows how to write a letter anymore. I know.
And put the stamp.
Yeah. Where do you get stamps? So we're still communicating via letters, and I come back, and because of the way that the reception of those Vietnam veterans, they didn't really get one. They didn't get a good reception. they made such a point to give us one, to give us this amazing coming home, right? So there's a lot of celebrations, a lot of things that when we got there. So we get off the plane, get on a bus, we come to a gymnasium there at Fort Hood, and all of our families are up in the stands, and they do this big, dog and pony show, and then they release us to our families,
Right.
Our send-off. And I'm there looking. I can't see them, I can't find them, but it's a lot of people. But I'm scanning the rows and whatnot, looking for my wife and kids and whatnot. Not there. Right? So this older lady, realizing that I was evidently,
not with nobody,
not with anybody, missing somebody as I'm sitting there looking around.
Why
like
are
a
you
person.
not crying, hugging someone? Yeah, okay.
So she comes up and she gives me a hug and gives me a kiss and just thanks me and welcomes me home, right? And I was like, that was sweet. That was nice.
Yeah.
And then I got my buddies like, hey, let's go. I got to go figure out why nobody showed up today. So I go out to the place that we were staying at. I knock on the door, and this big dude opens the door, and I'm like, please don't make me have to fight this guy.
I know.
Right? And so anyhow,
The suspense that he's doing right now. Oh my God!
Yeah. So I'm like, where's my wife? And he's like, dude, I don't know who the heck you are, but this ain't your place, and I don't have your wife. I got my own. You want her? And I'm like, nope, no. So, long story short, she had packed her stuff and left, and nobody told me. So my parents didn't tell me.
And they knew?
They knew, they knew because she moved back home, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah, so this is crazy. So next thing you know, we ended up. She went with somebody else.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she's with somebody. So long story short, so we're there. We end up getting a divorce, and
I mean, they'll do it.
You don't show up when somebody comes home from combat.
I know.
Yeah.
That is so hard.
But what was crazy about that is that we decided that we were going to split everything. Everything was going to be equal. We were going to raise the kids together, which is, a challenge. I'm in the military. I'm in Texas. She's in Ohio. But, I thought that was a great gesture. And, at that moment, if that's what we needed to do, then so be it.
Yeah.
Right? So a few months go by. And, man, I am missing the family and missing the kids and whatnot. And, she says, do you want to get married? Right?
What?
And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Right?
Oh my God, that was such a twist. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, this is like such a plot twist.
I know.
So I'm like, this is amazing. I'm going to, finally get my family back and yada yada yada. Like, and that's ultimately what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
So anyhow, so we get remarried. I start setting up, a house there and yada yada. So 3 months later, she divorces me in Ohio and takes everything from
Are you
me.
serious?
Yes, that was my first lesson in,
Yeah, that's the first lesson in business. Like,
yes,
what?
exactly.
Partnership.
Exactly. My first lesson in business.
Oh, that hurt
about partnerships, right? Get that stuff in writing. But, I mean, when you trust blindly, those are the things that happen. You make yourself vulnerable to anything and everything.
Wow.
So I said, you know what? She's good. Right? Yeah, she was good.
My respects to her in a way, but
Yeah, no, right. I mean, I got to give her credit for that, right?
We have a comment. It's like, hola, mi nombre es Mónica Hernández de España, pero vivo en Francia. Padezco una grave enfermedad que me condena a la muerte. Something. ¿Es de qué? Oh, okay. And then Sol says, congratulations, this program is excellent. Sorry, there's like a lot of comments right now. I'm like trying to go through it. All right. So, man, okay. See what you said? Look at it. Hicieron nombre. Okay. Whew.
Plot
Okay.
twist, right?
Can I get a water? I need a water for that one. Whew.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
so
not even done.
yeah, learn. Okay, so what do you do? I mean, mental. I mean,
Yeah, so you think about that, right? So at that point, you know, I just came back from combat, and you know,
now you got nothing.
and now I have nothing, like literally nothing. In that moment, the only thing that I owned was a motorcycle.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So
So rain or shine, snow, sleet, whatever.
What kind of motorcycle was it?
So what was it? It was
We gotta get to know those details.
Yeah, so it was, what was it? I think it was a Kawasaki or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, I upgraded to a Harley years later. But yeah, that one was like a Kawasaki, and it was inexpensive, and it was the only thing I could afford. And at the time, you know, the only time that I'd ever been without a motorcycle was when I was in Germany. Because I've ridden a motorcycle ever since, you know.
You were that type of guy?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so I'm on this bike, and just to tell you how little I had to make a trip back to Ohio, but it was still early spring,
Yeah.
and it was cold. And when I say it was cold, I mean it was like chilled to your bones cold. I don't believe I'd ever been cold. I've literally slept in the snow on the ground, you know, and I had never been that cold because I wasn't prepared for the elements. I didn't have the gear for it. I didn't have, you know, and so I had to make this trip back to Ohio to see my kids. And along the way, I had no money. So what did I do? I slept in a Walmart parking lot in the lawn and care area, and I pulled bags of wood chips over me to stay warm.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a crazy trip.
Yeah.
Talk about hitting rock bottom financially.
Yeah. That bad.
Yeah, that bad.
And I mean, little did you know what it was preparing you for.
Yeah. So again, I refer to that as a test.
Right.
You know, that's a part of being tested.
Wow. That is crazy. So after that, you got to see your kids, where your kids were like, why is all this happening?
Mm-hmm,
I mean, did they understand?
No, they didn't understand. So my daughter was young when we separated, so she really didn't have as big of a challenge as my son. My son, he really took it hard. But it's one of those things that you know, for me being a dad, I just had to go be the best dad I could.
Yeah. So they were excited to see you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that was it. For me, it was important about showing up. So you think about all the things that we are responsible for in our life, and man, you're, like we talked about earlier, you're going to have challenges. You're going to get knocked down. You know, your life isn't easy, but you have to be committed to showing up.
When you, at what point were you like, this is not going to be my forever? Like, I'm not going to be sleeping in a motel all the time. Like, I'm not going to be struggling, like, and facing the fact that this happened with your family, you're alone. Like, how do you get up from that? Like, what was that transition moment of?
So, I mean, I excelled in the military. I always knew that it wasn't going to be my forever, because remember, I told you, from the time I was that big, I was going to be a Green Beret. I hadn't yet gotten to there yet.
Right, you're still working towards that?
I'm still working towards that.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though all this happened?
Oh, yeah, right. So I was still working towards that.
Okay.
So right in that moment, I got sent out to be a military recruiter. Worst job ever. Worst job ever.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yes. Worst job ever. I never worked harder at a job in my life than as an Army recruiter.
Why, nobody wanted to go?
Nobody wanted to go, or they weren't qualified. And so you literally, in order to satisfy the number of individuals that you had to put into the military every month, I was working from 6 a.m. to 9 at night and on weekends.
Was it commission pay? Or?
No, it wasn't commission. but we had essentially a quota.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah, we had a quota, and the military or the Army, and I don't know if all branches were the same, but the Army, there's a big thing about making mission, right? They call it a mission. Your mission, like, you can't fail a mission. Like, failing a mission.
Oh, that's messed up.
Is the worst. So you think about that. Hey, we're going to go take out this enemy position. That's a mission. So you can't fail that.
So your mission is to recruit.
Your mission is to recruit, and your mission is to recruit this certain number of
Nobody wants to go.
You know, and so it was a challenging position, but guess what it taught me?
What did it teach you?
What did it teach?
Yeah, I want to know. Y'all want to know?
It taught me how to effectively communicate. It taught me how to negotiate. It taught me how to sell. It taught you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it taught me all of these skills that
because you can't fail on a mission.
You can't fail on a mission.
So you have to
figure it out. Yeah.
I love it.
You have to figure it out. So you have to build an effective strategy to be able to accomplish that mission.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Wow. Okay, so now, guys, y'all know how to commit to a mission and complete it. Okay, you're gonna have to figure it out. It's not about giving up.
That's correct.
Really is not about giving up. Okay.
But now, this is where the point of when it was time for me to go and test myself to see if I could become a Green Beret.
Okay.
And so I'm a recruiter for nearly, I guess it was close to 3 years. I was at my point of, I was coming to the end of my tour of duty as a recruiter, so I had a choice. I didn't want to go back to just some regular unit. I was going to, because I needed a career boost. Like, being a recruiter, it took me out of the infantry, and so it made me less competitive than my peers for promotion.
Oh, okay.
You see what
So
I'm
there's
saying?
benefits.
So there wasn't a benefit for me as an infantryman, being a recruiter. So now I needed to go do something extra to become more competitive. So if I wasn't going to be a Green Beret, I needed to go somewhere to do something that was going to make me more competitive. So I put myself what's called on levy, meaning that I volunteered to go serve in Korea.
Okay.
So I volunteered to go serve in Korea. At the same time, I went I went through the selection process to become a Green Beret.
Wow.
So the thought was, if for whatever reason I don't make it through selection, well, I'm heading to Korea to jumpstart my,
whatever
my career,
that might take
right?
you.
Whatever that achieves. But
So what was the outcome?
But I'm like, you know what? I'm damn sure I'm not going to Korea.
Yeah.
So I had incentive. So I go through, and there's kind of going, even getting to selection, there's a selection process. So you can't just become a Green Beret. You've got to go through a process of being selected to go through the training, right? So my initial part, I had to go do a physical fitness test, and from there they only take a certain number of people. So you have to get selected there to then go get beat up for 3 weeks in selection.
To get selected.
Yeah, so I go.
When you get selected, you're not selected.
Yeah, that's correct. You're not done yet.
Oh my God. Okay.
There's all of these barriers to entry that you have to get through. So I show up at selection. Now I am, at this point, even though I'm an infantryman by trade, I am an Army recruiter. They never had an Army recruiter come through Special Forces selection. They just did, those individuals just didn't come to selection. It wasn't a typical career path. Right? So I'm their one. So I show up, there's 375 guys, and these guys are coming from big infantry unit. They're coming from the 82nd Airborne. They're coming from Ranger battalions. These guys are big, they're brawny, they're in shape, they've been doing all this stuff for years, and then there's me,
a Latino,
like
recruiter, my God.
So I'm standing there around them, and again, this is about mindset. So what they didn't know,
that is deep.
So being a recruiter, I knew I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready mentally. I wasn't ready physically. I wasn't ready to go and stand in that formation with 375 guys and get tested, right? So I needed to test myself in advance. So 6 months in advance prior to going, I put myself through a regimen of training at home. And so I built a rope climb, I built a dip stand, and then I put on my rucksack. Conroe, Texas had an 18-mile loop around the city, and I would put my rucksack, I would fill it up with about 65 pounds, and I would walk this loop. And again, what I told you, we started recruiting at 6 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m. in the morning. Wouldn't get done till 9. So guess when my training started? 9 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Yeah. So I wouldn't even start till 9 o'clock at night. So at the point of, by the time I got done, it might be 2 o'clock in the morning. Right?
And just get a few hours of sleep.
Just get a few hours in.
Next day.
So that's the part that these other guys didn't have.
Yeah.
They're coming from these units where, what, they worked and they had skills and they, they were in shape, but they didn't do that. Right? So
voluntarily.
That's correct. They didn't do that voluntarily.
Because you're like literally torturing yourself.
That's right. So at the time, my wife at the time, it would be pouring down rain, and where am I? I'm on that road and I'm walking. It's pitch black. And she'd drive by and she'd yell at me, "Get in the truck. Are you crazy?" I'm like, "You better leave me alone. Just keep on going."
Yeah.
I'm not getting in. Like, you're wasting your time. So I'm standing in formation with these guys. And like I said, we started with 375. By the time it was done, we had 70 that were left, and only 50 of us were selected to move on.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you were in it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What did that feel like?
So every week, it was 3 weeks long. Every week there was a gate.
Oh,
that's right, a cut, and the cadre would come out and they would call off numbers. And if
what was your number?
So what was
Do you remember it?
I don't. I think it was 70 something, but
okay.
But every week they would call out numbers, and and the way that they did it is they separated. Well, the first week it was kind of obvious because there were so many people. By the time you got to the very last cut, which was the very last day.
Yeah.
So right prior to that, we had just completed a 40-mile ruck march with, and this is after 3 weeks of getting beat up. I already had stress fractures in my heels, so I did that on my tippy toes. Oh yeah, no, it was crazy.
Oh my God.
It was crazy.
Nice.
So we're standing there, and now it's literally like this. You're parting this group, and you're looking at these other individuals that they're just as capable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they just completed everything, and they're getting pulled over there, and you're like, oh no, I didn't make it, because there's no way they're cutting that guy.
Yeah.
Right? And so they get, in this case, like I said, they'd gotten to that 20, thought they were going to keep calling off names, and then they just said, all right, you guys go over there. And then where they were heading, they were pointing them to out process. Oh yeah. And all of us, we were moving forward. There was a moment in the selection process that I think was just a defining moment about mental toughness.
Yeah.
And your willingness to just persevere through even silly stuff.
Did you notice, when you outdid them, anybody, was there a moment where you were side by side with someone else that in the image it would have been like they're way better than me, but mentally it was just not.
Yeah. So this what was really interesting about selection. It's designed to make you quit. It's designed to push you to the point where mentally you self-select and you say, yeah, this isn't for me, because I would rather have you quit then than quit on me when we're in a combat situation and I need you.
That is deep.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm gonna start doing that for recruiting.
Yeah, you can't quit on me.
Oh my God,
right? So,
yes.
so I need to test you. I need to put you through some trials to make you self-select. So when we talk about hiring, the fact that people don't spend more time and energy trying to not hire somebody, right? They spend all this energy trying to convince the person that they need to come work for them. It should be the other way around.
Yeah.
You know, and so
I love that, because that's where I'm currently at. Like, I did like I had all these girls come in for the drive that we were meeting up at the chamber. I brought all these girls I wanted to interview, because it was like 4 or 5. So they came into the chamber and I was like, okay, do these calls, cold call. And like the ones that didn't do it, I was like, I don't need you, because this is what I'm gonna need you to do.
That's right. Hire hard, manage easy.
Yeah.
So hiring should be the hardest thing. So
love that.
we're standing. We had just got done with a full day of just stuff. And you talk about, did I ever look at somebody else and compare? I didn't. You know why? Because
you were focused on you.
Well, no. The whole mentality is about team. I wasn't focused on me. I was focused on the team and our team. We had, you start with 12 or so people. Like, our team was the only team that was intact at the very end.
What?
Yeah, and that made it easier. Those that didn't have a full team, when it came to team week, all of the carrying heavy stuff and all those things, all the activities, it fell on the team. And so if you were down a person or two, guess what? You were just out of luck, right?
Wow.
But so we were focused on team, and that's the mentality that you had to have. So we're standing there. We'd just gotten done. They sent us to bed, and then all of a sudden, it's like midnight, and they get us back up, and they pull us out in formation. Now it's December in North Carolina. It's kind of cold.
Yeah.
And we're just in, like, what I'm wearing right now is kind of the equivalent of what I had on. But I had a t-shirt, and I had on a pair of BDU pants and boots, and they put us in formation, and we're just standing in rows, and we're just standing there. You know why?
I have no clue. I'm just thinking like you voluntarily doing this.
Oh yeah. So it's like 40 degrees and it's raining.
Oh
so
my
they
God.
pulled us out, put us in formation because it was raining. There was no other reason to do it, right? And so we stayed there for a few hours, and man, people were miserable. I mean, it was soaking wet, cold, like just, you're already super tired.
Talk about building tough skin.
Yeah. So you think about the mentality of it, now you can't rationalize why they're doing it, and for some people, just too much. So right as they tell us, okay, been here a while, I want you to go get all of your gear, all of your dry stuff, to include the sleeping bag you were hoping to go jump back into in a few minutes. Bring it all outside and lay it out. We're going to inventory it. Now it's still pouring down rain.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Yep.
Okay.
So they send us all back to get our stuff, and in that moment, 13 people quit. They were like, nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
That's it. And they went to the shack of shame, right? The rest of us went back to go get our stuff, but inside our sleeping quarters, there were cadre telling us to go to bed. It was a test.
Wow.
And 13 people failed it.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah. So you just think, like you say, it's.
You say no to yourself before they even had said no to you.
So your mind will give up well before your body will. Your mind will give up well before your body will. So you have to remember that. And you have to, tell your mind, hey, you're not in charge of this one.
Yeah. Oh my God. Guys, so that is word of advice. I mean, that one, it hits hardcore, because can you imagine like what they felt, those 13 people that quit, and then they found out it was just a test?
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
oh my God.
And you can't come back. Like when you quit,
That's it.
that's it.
I mean, you lose everything.
You can never come back.
Yeah.
If you get hurt, injured, and you have to leave, or if you make it all the way to the end and they didn't select you, you can come back, right? But if you quit, you can't come back.
No. I mean, why? Like, why would they take you back?
That's correct. You think about that. Why? But why do we bring people back into our lives, into our jobs that quit on us?
Ooh.
Why do we do it? You know?
Yeah. Guys, well, it's something about, they say that if somebody betrays you, you need to move forward. You can't look back. You can't pay attention to their sorries, to their this, to their that, because if they did it once, they're gonna do it again. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how hardcore it went.
Yeah. So for me, quitting on me, that's probably my one thing that is a non-negotiable.
So you learned this after your wife had taken everything.
Yeah.
Right?
So because that was a different lesson. That was a, fool me
But
once,
I'm
shame
just saying,
on me.
but like if they would have done this, like if you would have gone through this first and then would have gone back home, I don't think you would have.
No, right? No. So
that's deep.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
definitely. At that point, you think about what's driving you.
Yeah.
When I left to go to selection, all my recruiter buddies, they're like, "Hey, we'll see you in a week." They'd already quit on me.
Yeah.
They'd already quit on me, and I'm like, "Yeah, no, you won't. No, you won't."
That is sad.
Yeah.
That is so sad because.
But that's the way people are, unfortunately,
Yeah.
right? You got those haters out there. They're quitting on you.
Yeah.
And they're quitting on you. So the very first thing, you can't quit on yourself, because then you can't blame anybody else for quitting on you if you quit on yourself, right? So first and foremost, you've got to be able to continue the mission, right?
Yeah.
Continue to drive on, and not allow other people.
Finish it, conquer it.
That's it.
I mean, if you guys are trying to accomplish something in life, it's not gonna be easy.
It's never going to be easy.
It's gonna knock you down, and you're gonna have,
Mhm.
like he said, haters here and there, but you're also gonna have naysayers. I just learned about that, which is
Yeah.
about people that truly care about you.
Yep.
It could be your mom, your brother, sister, whatever, and they're like, no, like, you're gonna come back and it's gonna be okay, this and this and that. But that's where you have to stay even stronger.
Yeah.
Because it looks like they genuinely care for you, but they're already knocking you down without even knowing the fact how truly you want it.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I got a friend of mine. She and I, we had this conversation here recently about co-signers. So you think about the stuff that you're doing that's taking you away from your goal. And so I have a goal card that I give people. On one side, they write their goal. On the other side, it's a statement, is, the actions that I'm doing, the people that I'm around, the environment that I'm in, is it taking me closer to my goal, or is it moving me further away? So the decision I'm getting ready to make right now, is it taking me closer or further away, right? So you think about co-signers in somebody that's sitting there. When you say to yourself, I can't do it, I'm not good enough. Oh, don't worry about that. You're fine just the way you are. You don't
Yeah.
have to do that. They're co-signing that mentality for you, right? They don't possess the courage to really give you the advice, the guidance that you need.
And it's because they can't see it. It goes back to that lens. Yeah.
Right?
They can't see it.
That's correct. So you can't rely on people to bring to the table those things that you need in order to make you strong and be able to persevere, right? Because if they don't have it, if they don't see it,
how are they supposed to encourage you?
How are they supposed to?
Oh my God, guys. So we are deep. I mean, right now my heart has gone up and down with Michael Daly, guys. Estamos en vivo desde los nuevos estudios de Radio Metroplex in Arlington, Texas, la capital del deporte, el espectáculo y el entretenimiento. And right now we're going through life lessons that have made him who he is. So we're running out of time, guys, but we're gonna get down to the real.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what we should do? We should do a part 2.
Ooh, you're gonna do that to us? Don't do that to. He's gonna leave us painting. He's like, you want to know the rest? Come check us out in part 2. I'm down. I'm down to do a part 2.
But we can fast forward to a little bit of now.
Okay.
Right? We can fast forward to a little bit of now. Mm-hmm.
The rest, we're going to continue it in a part 2, guys. So make sure you stay tuned to that one. And we're going to fast forward right now. But that is so messed up. You're going to leave us like bien picados aquí. No los va a dejar terminar, right? But it was really good. Wow, you have such an interesting story. Like
when you're as old as I am, you know, you can't expect it to happen in an hour.
If y'all thought he was 30, he's not, guys.
Yeah. 35.
Yeah, I would have thought you were in 30. Okay. All right, so let's fast forward to today. Mm-hmm. Today, what is it that you do?
Yeah, today, so all of these things through life has brought me, and we're going to kind of, part 2, we'll talk about some of those business things and the things through my Homeland Security counterterror days that have shaped, you know, who I am. But, you know, what I've found here in the last 5 years, that I want to serve others. But up to that point, I didn't know how. Because I was trying to survive, trying to overcome things that, you know, that had challenged me.
Yeah.
And, you know, dealing with PTSD from, you know, Iraq and Afghanistan. Those things that, you know, that I had to work through in order to be healthy and be able to serve. I didn't realize that I even wanted to. Because I'd always been in the service of others through the military, through Homeland Security, right? So I didn't know how to serve people like this. I didn't know how to serve a community because I had never lived anywhere for a long enough time to even call somewhere my home. So it wasn't until I came to Arlington
oh my God,
that I even had a home.
That's crazy. How old were you when you...
Yeah, so I was 49.
That's crazy to think that for 49 years you didn't have a home.
Yeah. You know, so, well, I mean, take from 17 to 40.
You were just different.
I was transient.
That is
crazy. Right? I was transient. So every relationship, everything was temporary.
Yes.
Everything was temporary. So this is the first time since my childhood that I'm able to build what I think, you know, this is my home, these are my people, this is my community. And so I'm going to go out and I'm going to serve my community in every which way that I can because it's mine.
Right.
Yeah.
And he did it. He's doing that. Because a lot of people look up to you. A lot of people look up to you, and I can definitely understand why. I mean, I just stepped into Arlington, and I didn't expect to receive everything I did from Arlington. Mm-hmm. But I can totally see why you were so committed to Arlington.
Yeah, and it's amazing community.
It really is. Yeah. And everybody looks out for each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you came out here and you were like, this is it, I'm going to serve these people, is that why you started your...
Yeah, so you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. It's like it's one of those things that sometimes it takes a while to iron out, to put it together, to frame out what it is that who you want to be when you grow up, right?
Totally get it.
But what I realized is that I have a knack for being able to visualize somebody's success.
Ooh.
And it takes me a few sessions to work with them to kind of unpack it. But then once I get it, then I've got to put it out on so I have like multiple whiteboards in my office.
He really does, guys.
And I fill those things up. And I'm taking what's in their mind and what they've been holding on to, sometimes from their childhood.
Oh.
And I unpack it because those are barriers to their success. But I'm looking at the positive too. I'm looking at the things that they're great at. And, you know, I'm looking at the things that they love to do, the things that they think the world needs. And then how does that all culminate in their passion and purpose. But then it takes action. Like, it doesn't matter that you're passionate about something. Like, that's just that's great. You know, there's a Hallmark card about it. But really traction, to gain traction, to have success, it takes action. So you got to be able to have a plan, go after it, get it done, but then overcome the real life challenges along the way.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Because you're going to have it.
So it's like you can lay it out for them. You can grasp everything for them and put it in a whiteboard, make it look really pretty.
Put it in a beautiful plan.
Yeah,
hand it to them.
if they do not take that action to go out,
that's
man.
right. So I'm the person that comes in and helps them create the blueprint and walk them through their solution, optimize who they are, what they are, their business, themselves, right? But then what I do is I am that accountability. I'm that person that's not going to lie to them. I'm that person that's going to be real.
Right.
You're
going to get down and real.
Get down and real. And I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Oh, you couldn't get that done? Yeah, let me explain something to you. You know, hey, if you're not going to commit, then I can't commit.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
I'm relying on you. If I'm showing up, again,
you have to show up.
You have to show up.
Yeah, and guys, it's unreal when you're not put in a situation, but if you're gonna go out and want to get surrounded by someone like Michael, let me tell you, you need to be mentally prepared for that, because there's no more sugarcoating. There's no more, oh, I'm gonna baby you through the whole way.
Why would you expect that?
Yeah, like, you got to this point for a reason, and now you're expecting me to do something for you. Well, let's get to it, right?
Yeah, are you ready to work?
Yeah.
Are you ready to work? Because if you're ready to work, man, I'm going to work with you.
Right.
But if you're not ready to work, then you've got some things.
And it falls back on you too, right? Like, if they're not successful, then it's like you're not being successful. So you need to complete the mission.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, I'm going to complete the mission. That's right.
So there's no giving up. And this is what it means to be a coach, guys. Like, it's not about the money. It's not about everything on the side. It's about, we need to get you to where you need to be. Like, let's go. And that mentality comes with it, definitely.
Yeah, so I think what makes me different, though, is the fact that a lot of people, like a coach, a traditional coach, come in and kind of talk you through and motivate you and yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also coming in. And I'm crunching numbers. I'm looking at your process. I'm looking at people, process, and platforms, and how are they operating? How are they executing? You know, are you optimized to be able to actually give you your time back in the day so you can think about things?
Right.
A lot of times we come in and we have this great plan, but we hadn't fixed the things that needed to be fixed in order for them to even have the mental energy to move forward. And
I need to say this, guys. So the one person that broke that mentality for me was you. And this was over coffee, guys. It was, you need to stop working in the business so you can work on the business.
Yeah.
And like, I had heard that before.
Sure.
But it wasn't until you gave me that reality check that I was like, oh man, like, what am I doing? How am I supposed to grow my business when I'm stuck here, literally doing the job? Your time is caught up doing the thing. Exactly. Right? And that was over like it was a lot of, it was long. But for us, that little conversation we had was like 10 minutes. And that's what I got off of it, guys. And this is what happens when you hire the right coach. The one that that wants you to succeed. I mean, there is no failure on this. So when you get a client, what is one of the hardest things that you deal with? Like, they're typically, when they're coming to me, they're broken. You know, they're broken. I mean, they could be, you know, in business, they could be doing great. Their business could be doing great. But they've also done so well, they're now scared because they can't manage it. And they're starting to make mistakes. And they're broken. Right? And so
I've got to come in and I've got to diagnose them and their business correctly.
That is so crazy.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
okay.
I've got to be able to sit and hear them.
Cool.
Right.
So
it's
if
not just me.
If you're going to talk to them right now, if you're like, this is for blah blah blah, who is that person that needs to come and call you ASAP?
Yeah. So you think about, are you that person that you know that you have the ability to succeed, regardless of why you didn't in the past? You know that in your heart, in your mind, you have the ability to succeed in life, accomplish your goal, but you're not there yet. Your business is scaling, and that scares you to death because it's scaling beyond your capacity to run it, to manage it. It's beyond your expertise. So don't think like that's a failure. That's an amazing success, right? It's an amazing problem to have, but you still got to solve the problem.
Right.
Because if you, as that business owner or as that individual trying to reach that goal or that dream, if you don't solve the problems along the way and then surround yourself with people who fill your gaps.
Yeah.
We as especially small business owners, we try to take it on like we have to do everything. We have to wear every hat. And we don't trust people and whatnot. There's a level of trust that you have to be able to give to others.
So if fear, okay, you can make 6 figures right now, but if fear is holding you back from becoming that multimillionaire or whatnot, this is that moment. It's okay to be scared.
It is,
but there's
100%.
people that can help you.
That's right. So I'm never going to be that person that says, don't be scared. I want you to channel it.
Ooh.
Right? I want you to channel it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to identify why you're scared, get to the root cause of it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to create a strategy to overcome it.
Deep.
Not just once, but repeatedly.
To the point where you can go out on your own.
It's a habit.
Yeah. Ugh.
Right?
Guys, see, this is what I'm talking about. And how is it that you're going to grow your business by contacting Michael? How do you do that? How do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, so it's kind of a long, but you can reach me at info@invictus-legacy.builders.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we have also tagged him on the live, guys. So y'all can go ahead and send him a DM. I'm not sure if he'll respond or not, but that's a good way to get on his social media, start following him and everything that they do. I think for part 2, we're going to have to get down and real on Invictus. Because Invictus itself, that is, the only reason I know how good it is because I was like in the background for a little bit. But Invictus is something that you need to look forward to, guys. Not only are they doing major things with the community, but they are also doing it with the next generation.
That's right.
So it's something that we concentrate and we both have passion about. So make sure, guys, y'all go out and follow Michael daily, and he is going to be tagged on social media. Today was such a good one.
Yeah,
oh my
amazing.
God.
Loved it.
It was so good. So we are going to work on part 2, guys. But if you want to come and hear him, you want to hear him speak and what he has to offer, come out to the 24 Karat Gold Conference on October 18. That is happening here in Arlington, Texas. You won't want to miss it, guys. This is the Down and Real Show with the CEO Diva en vivo desde los nuevos estudios de Radio Metroplex en Arlington, Texas, la capital de deporte, el espectáculo y el entretenimiento. Thank you so much, Daddy, for coming out.
I love it.
Yay!
Thank you, everybody.
Y'all stay tuned for more, guys. That is fun. Cool. That was fun.
That was good.
I didn't know all that.
Yeah.
You could have told me this. I would have been like, plan for part 2. I don't know why I didn't think
La
about it.
base de datos de virus ha sido actualizada.
Bienvenidas. Comenzamos.
Radio Metroplex.
Presentando
Radio Metroplex.
la mejor programación. En vivo desde Arlington, Texas, la capital del deporte, los espectáculos y el entretenimiento.
Radio Metroplex.
La mejor plataforma en su tipo. El mejor contenido.